Welcome back to today's action-packed aviation news recap. There is coverage on a US airline expecting losses this summer period. Qantas has launched a new route, and Fiji Airways are looking to expand their network further. Let's begin with Qantas, who have celebrated the relaunch of flights in the last week between Australia and France non-stop for the first time in, believe it or not, 2 decades. The route launches just moments before the 2024 Summer Olympics, which are obviously being held in Paris, France. Qantas is operating service between Perth and Paris, using its 787 Dreamliner, with flights initially to operate 4 times weekly. These 787s are configured to seat 236 passengers in a 3-class cabin layout. You've got business class, premium economy, and standard economy. And the airline says that this configuration is optimally designed for your long-haul travel such as this. The Australian flag carrier adds that while service will be 4 times per week, this is only being available until mid-August. This frequency rate is in response to the busy Euro summer and of course the aforementioned Olympics and the Paralympics that follow. Once the Olympic season alongside summer concludes, Qantas will move the flight back to thrice weekly. It still believes this frequency will be incredibly beneficial for travellers and obviously better than nothing. The flights are expected to add up to 75,000 seats annually between Australia and Europe, a market that has become really hotly contested for the flag carrier, as Qantas has struggled to obtain aircraft on time and in the past couple of years had disputes with Perth Airport regarding expansion. Other airlines with greater available resources have looked to pounce and offer more compelling operations to customers looking to take market share away from the Australian company, and some of these have done a good job of that. In other cases, say looking at Qatar Airways, they've had their expansion attempts rejected over fear of the implication this would have on the flag carrier. You can agree or disagree on this move, but it certainly shows you that there are many airlines testing the waters for future expansion into the country. The deployment of flights to Paris, alongside you've got to also remember the recent commencement to Rome, Italy, is part of the airline's strategy to continue building up the Flying Kangaroo's presence in Europe. Western Australia as a state, which Perth calls home, is excited about the launch of these flights. It'll make for great tourism between the 2 locations, and the flights are optimally timed to offer enough transit for people that are, say, coming from other Australian cities. Furthermore, following Qantas's announcement that it will add 4.4 million seats to and from Perth by 2031, we can only expect more announcements regarding expansion in the future. As for the route, well, it comes in at just over 14,000 kilometers and therefore takes 17 hours and 20 minutes to complete, making this one of the longest flights in the world, but the duration is set to be shattered when Qantas takes delivery of its A350-1000 and commences Project Sunrise flights. Over to Fiji Airways, who are eyeing one of their more important expansions to grow their presence in the United States. The Fiji-based company is looking to launch its longest route by filing plans for non-stop service between Nadi International Airport and Dallas-Fort Worth International. This application was filed with the US Department of Transportation, this being an essential part of any airline's ambition to launch new services, and they will await a response. If approved, Fiji Airways would operate its Airbus A350 between Nadi and Dallas, with thrice weekly flights initially jetting off on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And the company has made it clear they want to get these up and running as soon as possible. The airline uses the A350 as it looks to dramatically improve efficiency across its business and continue to commit to more next-gen aircraft. Data indicates they have 4 of these in service, averaging 5.2 years, and in the future, the expectation is that this number will grow even further, as they expect more to be delivered, and these will replace their existing fleet of A330s. These A330s average 10.5 years, so by no means are they, say, getting on in terms of stage. But you simply can't ignore the efficiency benefits of the A350 and range capabilities that allow them to improve connectivity from the Pacific nation. And furthermore, being a single type operator for a company that doesn't have that many aircraft is going to give you, like I've said, greater benefits. Fiji Airways already serves several locations in the United States. This includes Honolulu, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Dallas would therefore become the fourth location. However, the meaning behind the airline's prospective launch to Dallas is far greater than just continued network expansion. The potential service aligns with Fiji's plan to become a full oneworld alliance member next year. Dallas-Fort Worth being home for American Airlines, a fellow oneworld member airline, is an important part, and the prospect of serving this airport opens up many future great opportunities for onward connectivity. In addition to the benefits associated with its oneworld membership, Fiji Airways just generally hopes to increase tourism to Fiji and the South Pacific region. In recent years, the airline has really been able to capitalize, offering an attractive price point for travel across the South Pacific instead of the nonstop services which are typically offered by your full-service airlines from Australia, New Zealand, and North America. On to the final story, and heading back in a way to Paris with regards to the Olympics, Delta is actually forecasting a revenue loss of over $100 million as it approaches these Olympics. Ed Bastian, the company's executive, spoke with CNBC in a really detailed interview where he took a look at the impact the Olympics will have on the major US airline revenue-wise. While, yes, it is correct in assuming the world's eyes will focus on the city as it hosts the Olympics and then the Paralympics, this doesn't necessarily correlate to increased demand for the location, which would see then revenues bump up logically. In fact, to be completely honest, it's quite the opposite. Bastian states that unless you're one of the 10,000 plus athletes headed to the location to compete or be, say, a spectator, people are going to avoid the area at all costs. Part of this avoidance is obviously due to the congestion, heightened security, and also limited access to some of the key landmarks that will be present because of the esteemed games. Furthermore, because of the significant attention to the location, you can expect prices of attractions and even accommodation skyrocket. This makes an already expensive holiday even more, and therefore deterring prospective travelers from committing to travel at this time. They may look at doing so a couple of months later. The financial hit is such a figure also because of the US carrier's large market share in the location when it operates a typical schedule. Furthermore, you have to also consider Delta has a great relationship with Air France, and while they work together, they're both expecting financial hits. Air France published its estimated revenue hit during the Olympic Games, which understandably came in considerably higher than Delta at almost double, USD 195.5 million. This forecasted revenue hit is expected to continue through to the end of August before recovery will then come back. On the other hand, Qantas has relaunched flights to Paris, as I discussed in the beginning of this video, for the first time in 2 decades, and rather than saying they'll reduce flights during this period, they've actually bumped them up specifically for the Olympics and the Euro summer. Away from Paris and French operations and back to the US airline, they're expecting still an excellent summer performance, and revenue should be fantastic as we continue to see demand build following a bleak start to the decade, and that includes great recovery in markets such as Asia. When looking at Japan, we're seeing great load factors alongside many other countries. That'll conclude today's aviation news recap. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. It really does mean a lot. Take care, be safe. I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow for your latest industry news. And we'll fly.